You would rather serve capitalism than serve your man, the man that was put here to protect you.
Yeah, but does your man make enough money so that you don't have to work? This is my thing. These are, if we're talking about family units, these are two people. They get to decide what happens in their unit. And reality is some men are not going to be able to provide all that they can. Talk about pressure. I feel like feminism was good for men because it kind of relieved them of a little bit of pressure.
It lifted everybody up.
Yeah,
Well,
but
really
it's made men so much more depressed than ever. It's made them weaker.
I think they just don't like the fact that now they see, oh, women can be as good as us because now that we're allowed to have all these rights,
we're
Why do you have to be as good as men? Why do you have to be?
Because we live in their world.
This conversation is often reduced to labels. In this episode of The Bridge, feminist and anti-feminist women sit face to face to explore where their beliefs about womanhood, equality, and freedom align, and where they don't. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Daff. Welcome to The Bridge. Only women should make laws about women's bodies. No, yes. Not sure. Okay. You haven't spoken much. Go ahead.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think that if we want women to be able to vote on things like the draft, which affects men, which I don't think should exist, then I think that, it's not a per se men's or women's issue. It's a human rights issue. It's an equality issue. I think that conversations about like who should be able to vote on abortion or something like that is like, I think a lot of people on my side fail to see that there is a genuine concern with people who are pro-life because they do believe that the fetus is valuable, that it's similar to a baby. And I think if you have a serious issue like that, then I think all people should be able to vote on that. I don't know why it would be exclusive to like women particularly.
I'm going to say something controversial, but I think that men should step in a little bit more when it comes to laws, even more now, because like they were saying, like women are emotionally led. That's what I believe. I believe, like right there.
I can laugh.
Well, it's just like so many reactions constantly. Yeah, it's emotions. Like men feel their emotions, but they can also conduct themselves. At least when I'm in rooms with them. Yeah, but I will agree with the violence, right? But I also say that women, they're making decisions on. I'll even go away from the abortion topic. Lip fillers. We see women from the media. They're getting injections everywhere. BBLs. They're putting their life on the line to get BBLs because that's the propaganda or whatever they're putting out there. And so I just think that men should step in a little bit more to protect us. Like, yeah, you can make the decision to go out there and alter your whole body, but at the end of the day, those women are putting their life on the line to do that. So that's why I say I think our men should actually step in more when they see that we're destroying ourselves, like in that sense. And that's just kind of one example I want to give.
Maggie, you made a face.
Oh, I made a face because I was talking earlier. I do agree. You should let people fail fantastically if they want to. Sometimes people have to hit rock bottom, and I say let them. And I think that's how some people have to learn, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. The reason I'm saying women should have more of a say on our bodies than men is just, if we look at history, men have had the only say on our bodies. They used to perform like gynecological operations on us in a room, a theater they called it, with just men. And like, can you imagine being a woman, going under procedure, you're strapped to a table, and there's just a theater of men, and there's not a single woman in there dictating whether or not this is a good thing that should be happening. Like, we didn't have a say. We should have a say. We haven't had a say. We should. We haven't.
I think, so one of the things that I take kind of with this romanticization of the past is if you look between the 1950s and now, almost every single marker of flourishing is up as women entered the workplace, as women entered policymaking. It turns out that all Western liberal democracies have given more agency to women, and they have consistently outperformed other countries that don't do this. And there's a reason for this, right? Which is that we're always better together. We're always better together. This idea that men are more logical than women, it just like, the reality is like the emotional landscape is like way more complicated than that. And good, wise decisions usually include emotions anyways, right? So men being less emotional would be bad for wisdom. And I don't think that men are less emotional. I think they're the same. And so every marker of flourishing has improved. I guess, what would your rebut to that?
I think that they feel emotions. I just think when I've what I've noticed is that they're not so emotionally reactive, unless if we look at the studies of like men that are in prison, they usually come from single mothers, from what I've seen.
I actually don't think there should be any laws on women's bodies. I think the only people who should be making decisions about what medical procedures a woman is receiving is herself, because she is an adult and can make choices for herself, and with her doctor, because those are the only people who should be making decisions when it comes to women's bodies. I don't trust men to take a list and go to the grocery store and execute that successfully. I certainly don't trust them to put laws on my body and execute that successfully. Women are dying in Texas because of laws on their body. A woman was strapped to a life support machine where a baby was forced to be made when she was only 6 weeks pregnant, and the baby is now severely disabled, and that was a law by man. I don't think that men should be making decisions. If they can't find the clitoris on image, I don't care what they think about my uterus, okay? Like, that's my opinion. No more laws on women's bodies, period. Women are adults. They can make the right healthcare decisions for themselves, along with their doctor, who is also in the right place to make healthcare decisions. Should lawmakers be making healthcare decisions at all? Hope not. Hope not. I don't really care what Mike Johnson has to say about my baby hole. So that's how I feel about that.
If you don't have them making any laws towards women and their bodies, then that means that you wouldn't have a doctor that could lawfully give you an abortion, right? So that means, because you're not, the baby just doesn't naturally die. If we put no laws on the book, then they wouldn't be able to give you an abortion.
If we didn't put laws on abortion, they could just perform an abortion. Like, that's the reality.
But what if the doctor doesn't want to perform the abortion? What if he doesn't believe
What does that have to do with law? That has to do with their choice.
But if there are no laws on the book, then that means that nothing can be done about it.
Well, that's not true, because there will still be doctors who perform that procedure. Like, I see the point that you're trying to make is, oh, if there's not a law in the book. These laws are not about expanding access to abortion. These laws are about diminishing access to women's health care, which has resulted in the actual very real deaths of women across the United States, or near-death experiences of women all across the United States. Like, there's not some law on the book that's somewhere that's like, you get to have an abortion now because it's here.
You guys always talk about like the smaller cases. It's not most
cases. Those smaller cases matter, because anybody dying is too many people dying.
But what about the man that seed you are carrying? Do he have a say? Do he have to pay for your child now that you have a baby? So he has no say.
Well, he does have a say with his body. It's at ejaculation. I'm glad we had that conversation. So my body, my choice, a uterus, his body, his choice, ejaculation.
So you have a choice to decide that, okay, I don't want to keep this baby.
Right, because that's my body choice.
But he has no choice in that.
No, his body choice was ejaculation.
Okay, but
yeah, our bodies work differently, so I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Once he ejaculates, can he not pay for that child? If he has a choice, right?
Well, he didn't make a body choice that was appropriate for him, is what I'm hearing here.
But you're
telling me his body choice, he doesn't agree with that now.
You have a half of a human being that belongs to him in your body. So,
yeah, but he had a choice at ejaculation.
So it's all about me. That's
did he have a body choice at ejaculation?
Did he have a body choice? You let him.
No, did he have a body choice at ejaculation?
You opened your legs.
You're blaming the woman for ejaculation?
Yes.
She doesn't even have a dick.
You opened your legs. Who grants access to sex? Women do.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're blaming women entirely.
They're raping me.
This is why I can't have a conversation, because I just told you that both men and women have a body choice because our biology is different. I let you know that men have a body choice. You agreed that ejaculation is a body choice that is had by men. And I said, great, that's their choice. And you went, well, then it's women's fault for letting them finish inside.
That was a body choice. And then he made a body choice. So now we have to decide what we do after.
I don't know if this is also what you're asking. So if everyone made their body choices and the baby is here, are you saying then the man should have responsibility for that child or should not?
I'm saying that if she wants to get an abortion, means she wants to keep a baby and a man doesn't, then he should have the right to say, no, I'm not paying for it.
Once the baby comes.
Yes, he should have that right then. If we're talking about equality, why do he have to pay for your body choice?
Well, his body choice was ejaculation. So we each had a body choice.
But you opened your legs. That was your body choice. You said yes.
Question. I just have one question for you, though. Like, so are you, because I don't know where you stand on Roe v. Wade, like, do you think we should ban it?
I think that.
Because if you allow a man to say, I don't want to pay for it, then you're really forcing women into slavery here. Like, you're going to be forcing women to be single moms.
I believe in the 3 exceptions. I think that life of the mother, obviously, rape, incest. But obviously, I don't believe that you should kill a baby. You shouldn't kill a baby, no.
But
I
you
don't
said
believe that.
but if a man doesn't want to be a part of it, he shouldn't have
I'm
to
using
be.
your logic. I'm using your logic. If
That's
you're
not our
gonna
logic.
say-
My logic was using your body choice.
Okay, but if you're going to say that you're going to have a baby that is a part of somebody else that's inside of your body, another part of another person is inside of you, then they should have a say.
Do you feel like there is no wrong reason to get an abortion?
I've seen so I have 11 siblings. I'm the oldest daughter. I've seen plenty of pregnancies. I've seen my mom go through miscarriages. And I think that probably affects the way that I view like childbirth. But I think as long as a woman wants to get an abortion and it's within a reasonable time, everybody's going to have a different opinion of what the reasonable time is. I don't think it's second trimester. I don't think it's third trimester. But like before a pregnancy comes to term, go for it. But if it's like getting to the point where you can see like, it's such a hard topic. But I think elective abortions are fine before a certain time.
Right.
Yeah.
To the financial abortion, I'm actually okay with that. To this question specifically, for me, personhood seemed to be conferred around 12 to 15 weeks. So I would want the same rights for men and women. Yes, personhood. Because the thing we're valuing here, well, when you say a human life, what you mean is another human being that we equally value. And the reality is that, like, at a certain point, this is why I can ask you guys this question. You've got a burning building, 2 rooms, 1,000 zygotes in one room, just recently fertilized eggs, and a baby in the other. Who are you picking? Who are you saving?
But that's like not relevant.
Who are you
It is
saving?
relevant when you want to say that they are both
Are they inside of a
equal.
woman's body?
No,
'Cause
there's
of the-
zygotes that once you put them inside a woman's body,
They're
they will be
fertilized.
fertilized. Yep.
according
It's
to
human life if you believe in life.
One person talk at a time. It's too confusing.
Yeah, I'll walk this through. Who are you picking? The
The
baby?
zygotes are not fertilized.
They are fertilized. Zygotes are always fertilized.
But what I'm saying is your question has nothing to do with.
It does.
No, it really does.
Then why
It
would
does.
you answer it?
And are you
It
a
would be
Christian?
so easy. Yeah.
So why don't you believe that that's a human life?
Because
Whose
life at
begins-
conception isn't even biblically established. Even the Pope would tell you this. There's no idea of when ensoulment begins. So if you want to have a theological conversation, we can go there, baby. But the issue is that when you talk about personhood, we are talking about when we confer moral value to another being. And I believe it's around 12 to 15 weeks because I think secular people value consciousness. And I think consciousness is the best representation of ensoulment. That's why I value it there. But legally, I'm for the complete decriminalization because what we see in abortion is that, first of all, no woman is just like being like, I've carried this for 6 months.
Right.
Man, I just want to kill it. Almost every single time, it is a absolute tragedy, and I'm not barring her from care. What we see in decriminalized states versus criminalized states, mothers die more, babies die more, children go into poverty, and children go into foster care. An 11% increase in Texas when they started banning abortions into foster care, which is just a tragedy. Mother deaths increased in Texas by 6% with this. Baby deaths increased by 12%. So when I'm talking about decriminalization, I'm for it all because I want mothers and babies to live. But when we're talking about a moral question, which is what you're interested in, when does ensoulment begin?
I would like to disagree with what you said about every time a woman has an abortion, it's some type of tragic
I said
decision.
after 6 months, just to clarify.
Okay, because what I have seen is that women are using abortion as birth control.
No, they're
And
not.
No, they're not.
what I have seen.
That's not even what the word birth control means.
In a year.
Okay, if I may finish. The protests, abortion on demand, my body, my choice, do whatever you want to. My concern, again, as an older woman, when we are all gone, what is going to be left behind if we look at families and children as disposable? I say, why do we have to take the nuclear option as the first option? There's over 30-something forms of birth control for women. I don't know how many of them were created by women when we want to talk about laws. I'm sure there were men scientists that came up with these ways that we can prevent abortion by preventing getting pregnant if you don't want to. But I would just disagree. I think women are using it as, oh, well, not always. I'm sure there are reasons that are tragic. I've never had an abortion, thank God. I was able to deliver without issue. My husband and I planned for those children.
Do you want to know the best? Sorry, do you mind if I jump in?
Go ahead.
Do you want to know the best policy for reducing abortion and increasing childbirth? The best policy is making birth free and providing comprehensive welfare care for mothers and children. This is why
disagree.
There's no such thing as free.
Nothing is free.
Nothing is
No.
Sorry, when I say free,
Yeah.
I mean universal health care.
Okay,
obviously.
Hi loves, it's me again, Dr. Michelle Daff. We've really been enjoying producing these meaningful conversations for the Dr. Daff Show. However, they are very costly to produce with our large team, equipment, studio, and cast, and everything that goes on behind the scenes. If you've been enjoying these thought-provoking conversations and want to support what we're building here, I would love for you to check out my fragrance brand, Fine Forever. Fine Forever is more than just a fragrance brand. It is a celebration of faith, purpose, and beauty. We currently have 3 signature scents, each inspired by a unique Bible scripture and has within its own story and meaning. First, we have 29:11, inspired by the scripture Jeremiah 29:11. It's a delicate yet vibrant fragrance that combines lush florals with soft, sweet undertones. It is a celebration of gratitude and the blessings that unfold when we walk in faith. Next is Silent Storm, inspired by Psalm 107, 28, and 29. It's a bold, captivating scent that balances strength and serenity. With warm woods and a touch of spice, it's a reminder to find peace and purpose even in life's storms. And lastly, we have Mustard Seed, inspired by Matthew 17:20. It is a fresh and uplifting fragrance inspired by faith and growth. It opens with a bright citrus and soft florals, symbolizing the beauty of small beginnings and the incredible potential within. Every purchase directly supports this show and helps us to keep bringing you meaningful content. So if you're looking for a signature scent that not only smells amazing, but also carries a message of faith and empowerment, then visit fineforever.com and shop now. Your support means the world to me, and I truly believe that these fragrances will bless you as much as they have blessed me. The next prompt is, white women benefit the most from the feminist movement. Okay. I think, well, almost everyone agreed, but then not quite. Okay, why don't you go ahead and share
I don't think any
respectfully.
woman benefits from feminism, but I do agree if we're like playing into I don't know. I don't really like to, because I don't like feminism, I don't really like to even acknowledge any kind of a benefit or anything because I just don't agree with it as an ideology. But there is that race element to it. So.
Do you think being able to choose your career or wear pants or drive or vote or anything like that is something that feminism has brought about, or what do you think brought that about?
Well, I just don't. If I had to choose my womanhood or my motherhood over material gain, I would choose my
Well, I just want
womanhood.
an answer
and my
to the question, please.
No, I think it's materialistic.
But don't you have all of those
But
things now?
that still does not answer my question. There's been a lot of non-answering questions here.
I don't think
Because you guys are going
feminism-
completely off the prompt. The
Yeah.
prompt is white women benefit more.
Yeah,
we
they
agree.
do.
We agree.
Yes, they fucking do. But white women always come up before everyone else most of the time anyway. That's just the thing. It's still, sorry to bring up race, but white people in general. So if we're going to talk about women, yeah, did it benefit white women more? Of course it did. Because we still had to tackle the civil rights movement. It's human rights.
I see why you fight for it.
all of those movements are movements to get you to do things. It's not you thinking for yourself.
This movement was so that we could decide what we wanted to do.
Well, most of the stuff that you guys said you wanted, you have now. Now it's to the
Because
point where you
of
have allowed
feminism.
men. You
Because
have
of women
literally
before
allowed
me.
you physically allowed men into your movement. It just contradicts the whole movement. When you allow
No, it doesn't. We're not against men.
transgender women are men.
Oh God, we're not going there.
Yeah, they're men.
Here we
You guys
go.
allow them in the movement.
Transphobe.
I think in general, movements that are about any group of people is always going to best serve the majority population within that group and also those who already have other privileges conferred intersectionally in other areas, which is why white women are going to benefit the most from feminism, right? This is going to, if you look at class-oriented stuff, generally poor white people will benefit significantly more on certain measures than other groups of people, right? This is just generally the case, in part because of just numbers. There's just more of them in that group of people, right? And because of that, you're just going to get more outshiners and stuff like that. You're going to get people who benefit maximally from it. So this is mostly a population issue. Yeah, there's more white women. So white women will disproportionately benefit from feminism. But I guess maybe I could answer Matrix about feminism doesn't confer any benefits because you don't like feminism. I think one of the issues, so one thing that happens on my tribe that I have a major issue with is we don't acknowledge any of the good things from as the established institution, which they call patriarchy, that has benefited everyone, right? And I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Feminism just has given you a credit card. I don't know what else it could even, nothing else is attributable here, right? It just did give you the right to vote, right? It did give you these choices. And I get you don't like feminism, but unfortunately, that's what is to blame for these things. You can dislike feminism and still appreciate what historical feminists have done.
No, I can do what I want. I can not like it, not contribute to it, not be a part of it, not have a credit card, not vote. I can do that.
I just meant to be, I guess
No,
I
I'm
meant to be
just-
intellectually
okay,
coherent. You
cool.
have to, but it's fine if you don't want to. That's fine.
Exactly. Thank you.
I think, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think what maybe these women feel is that maybe those things are important to you, but they're not important to them.
Right, but the thing is, the difference I think here between maybe it's confusing for you guys, but feminists, I don't want to tell you what to do with your life. I genuinely don't care what you do. If you want to have a baby, I want you to have. Actually, if you want to have a baby, I want you to have a baby because those are the people who we want to have be parents, right? Like feminism is all about choice. If you want to be a trad wife, I want you to be that trad wife. I hope you find the man who can provide for you in this economy. That's all it is. It's just about having choice. I'm not telling anyone how to live their life. I would never tell you guys what to do. But I feel from your point, you are telling us how to live lives. Like a lot of the time it comes off as you're wrong if you do this, you're bad if you do that. And I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong about your decisions for yourself. I'm not your mother. I don't know what's better for you, just like you guys aren't mine. So that's my only problem here. Feminism is just a way of, it's an equalizer so we can all come up together.
I feel you. I guess, like, for me, like, the reason why I really opt out and I'm strongly against it is because I don't really hear you guys acknowledge any positive things, like, about motherhood, like, at the forefront of the movement. Like, I feel like a lot of the stories that are told in feminism or feminist theory and stuff, it's always, like, these terrible, tragic, sad stories. And, like, even the women that you reference, you know, as our feminist leaders, like, they didn't live very beautiful, amazing, extravagant lives that any little girl would want to aspire to live. And so I feel like a lot of time, well, Mary Wollstonecraft, Susan B. Anthony, all of these feminists, they all had very tragic, sad, like traumatizing lives. And so even when they take like anecdotes like of other women's lives, it's always a highlight on like these terrible things. And it's like, why can't we teach women how to be happy, how to, you know, submit and enjoy that, how to appreciate what their body can do? Like, I don't understand why that is something that's shunned, because like, y'all's faces are turning. So that's what I'm trying to say is like, why is it always, why are all the bad stories amplified? That's what I'm curious about, because that's not every woman's story. That's not every woman's experience.
No, you're right, it's not.
No good story comes from everything going right is a quote that I've heard that I think maybe might answer that. But with back to the prompt, we all agree feminism benefits white people, white women the most. How do we actually bring everybody else up? Is there any like people that disagree with feminism? Like how do we bring everybody up?
I think we bring up our community by turning towards each other instead of against each other. And I think if you look at it as a balanced approach, I'm not going to deny the fact that women can work, we can vote, we can own, we can do all those things. But I think it is foolish to only look at that and not look at the harm that feminism has caused, especially minority communities. I'll speak as a Black woman. Black women get married at 1/4 the rate. And that is not helping our community because we're going against our men, and our communities are stronger because we are better together. So I think when we promote healthy families, when we promote the nuclear family, when we promote husbands and wives, moms and dads, boys and girls, that is how we get better. Feminism is not going to make us better. Feminism is actually making our community worse.
I didn't know that feminism equals like not getting married at a higher rate. Is that what you guys think feminism is? Is it just don't marry?
I mean, it leads to not getting married because men just don't like masculinity. They don't like
So you think
women
if you're a
that.
feminist, you're masculine?
I mean,
Very.
I mean, like you can take a look at this row of how these women are dressed. They're dressed very feminine, all of them. And then look at you guys. And I'm not. You got your dress on. I'm not even. And this is not a dig at you guys. This is. It's not a dig, but it is. But it's just to say that I mean, men are more attracted to that. You know.
Kidding? That is insulting. Yeah, men will put their dick in what they can put it in.
And they won't
So the
stay
fact
with
that
them,
she's
but
no,
they will
she just sat
marry.
here and looked
They
at all
will
of us
marry.
and said, "Oh, this is what men want."
I mean, ask them.
The reason that I said it benefits white women more, I don't think it benefits women at all. But if we go back to like Margaret Sanger starting Planned Parenthood and abortion, she was part of the eugenics movement. So she wanted to kill black babies. So that is part of the feminist movement, was to get rid of black women's babies and the black population.
I think this actually speaks really well. I forget your name. I'm so
Maggie.
sorry. Maggie.
Yeah.
Maggie was saying this as well, and it's something I echo, which is that there's a really big problem that happens in our tribes where we don't want to look at the bad things that's associated with them. And I would totally agree with that, right? I look at that and I'm like, I don't think that's great. I like Simone de Beauvoir for lots of reasons, but I don't love everything. I don't love everything that feminists do, right? When I say that I'm a feminist, it's because the ideology, which I would label as feminism, is for the promotion of femininity and like the advocacy and empowerment of women. I think that that's good. So look at the third wave of feminism, which you're probably gonna have an issue with. The third wave of feminism was a very white woman movement. It was mostly fixated on getting women into work and wasn't celebrating things that are associated more typically for women with femininity. I think that that's bad. But you look at the fourth wave movement of feminism, and that's corrected. That's why I like the fourth wave of feminism. So we can have bad actors, we can have bad ideas in feminism, and still identify with the idea if you choose to, right? And this is why I choose to. I don't stand by every feminist. I mean, we've disagreed on this side, right? We're heterogeneous necessarily. And yeah, I guess I'll let you move back to that.
Well, our country was founded by white men who raped their slaves, but it doesn't mean that I'm not proud to be an American, just in the same way that I would say that I'm proud to be a feminist. So.
And the final prompt is, there is no shame in having a high body count. No. Okay.
Well, I think that shame leads to repentance, and repentance leads to changed behavior. And so having a high body count, like, for example, I talk to people in my community, in the Christian community, and I speak with people, and women that do have high body counts, they tend to struggle with like BPD, borderline personality disorder, other personality issues, comparison, even struggling with being satisfied in the bedroom with their husbands because they had so many other sexual partners. So I do think that there should be shame. I think there should be shame if men are sleeping around. I will say that. There's accountability for that too. That's not right. So, but this is like our Christian beliefs. So in my Christian beliefs are both of us should be waiting until marriage. So, yeah.
Well, I want to address the statistics there, because people with higher body counts do show higher satisfaction in relationships, specifically also like couples who have more sex over time experience happier sexual relationships like that. The other thing, I want to make sure that we're getting the causation right here. Women or people with BPD struggle with higher impulsive sexual behavior. It's not people who are more sexual struggle with BPD. I want to make sure we're not like saying this thing is causing like high sexual behavior is causing BPD. It just happens to be that this group of people, that's like saying that people who have like hallucinations struggle with schizophrenia or whatever. We're like, okay, well, yeah, you're going to look at a population that has a high level of that and say, oh, well, they have high levels of this. Well, yeah, that's like the population you're looking at. That's like saying also that men happen to be more suicidal and then saying like, oh, it's a thing with men. Like it is just a fact about being a male that makes you more suicidal, which is not true. Like you're getting the causation kind of mixed up. I want to make sure that's very clear.
I mean, I feel like I'm going to speak from a whole different type of language where I think that when you are laying down with someone, you're creating a soul tie. So I do think that that will lead to some type of just spiritual bonding.
Do you have like an argument that there's like a spiritual, or is this just like religious?
Yeah, it's just my religious beliefs, yeah.
Okay, there's no evidence. I mean, I can't argue with that.
Anyone else?
I feel like we're looking at different statistics on the relational satisfaction, because women with higher body counts get divorced at a far higher rate. And they also, it's harder for them to pair bond with their husbands because they've had so many past partners.
So pair bonding research is really not super strong, right? This idea of like oxytocin being released and stuff like that. The pair bonding is quite weak, evidentially. Like it's just increasingly becoming an unpopular theory around sex and sexual bonding, right? It seems like intimacy and closeness over time predicts closeness rather than these sort of things. I guess to kind of speak to the shame piece more directly, being Christian as well, there is immeasurable amounts of sexual shame in the church. So guilt, when you're talking about repentance, guilt drives behavioral change. Shame doesn't. Shame drives lying and closing down and not talking to others. If you look at the rates, for example, of vaginismus, if you guys don't know what that is, it's when sex and any form of penetration is exceptionally painful for a woman. It is 3 times higher in religious groups. As a woman who's been I'm married for 8 years, I only have a body count of 1, I came from a very Christian background. My Christian background and the tying of sexual shame that was there was so hard on my marriage. And in fact, if you talk to a lot of religious women, they're gonna tell you this, right? A lot of my friends, for example, say, my virginity was so tied to my value that when I lost it to my husband, I thought I was dirty, right? Look at the rates of orgasm amongst religious married women. So shame in general, when it comes to sexuality, seems mostly just to lead to worse outcomes. There can be conversations about impulsivity, right? About choosing who your partner is more wisely. I'm actually open to those conversations. The issue is that when we shame people for their body count, it's disproportionately women, right? If you look at these, and I agree that you're consistent, it's both for you. Look at these red pill podcasts. All they want to do is get their body count up and shame women for giving them that body count, right? This leads to worse relationships.
What is a high body count? I'm curious. What's the number? What's the number?
I don't think it's
I'm
necessarily
curious.
a number. I think it's more so the idea of sleeping around for no reason and not having
there's definitely a
any
reason.
commitment.
I know, right?
Sure. And I would actually agree with the shame part in religion. I think purity culture can be very dangerous. It's seen as more of a sin than anything else, and it's very damaging to women. And we see this even in marriages, like you said, women still think sex is a sin in their marriage. I think that's a problem. So I think it's not so much I don't think we need to bring back shame to women. I think it's more so that being sexual and being promiscuous shouldn't be celebrated as much in our culture as it is.
Sure, but the prompt was specifically, is it more shameful, right? And you guys said, yes. That is necessarily bringing more shame to women for this. That's necessarily doing the thing you're opposed to.
Okay, well, I mean, I have a yes or no. So I'm not gonna say no because I don't think that being sexually promiscuous is good for anyone. So that's why I said. That wasn't the prompt.
Okay. So I want to chime in here and say that I grew up in a very conservative religion that shamed you for any type of sex outside of marriage. What did that lead to? What did shaming people about body count lead to in that kind of religious situation? People lied about it. Here's the natural truth about humans. All of us have sex. Even when we pretend we don't have sex, we are all still having sex. I don't care if it's the 1950s or it's 2025. Every person is having sex. That's just the reality of it. Some people want to have sex less than others. Some people want to have sex more than others. And none of that is about who they are morally as a person. I am a person who happens to consider myself to be hypersexual. It's just part of who I am. It's always been part of who I am. And when I was 14, growing up in a very religious church that told me that who I was as a person was bad, that was really harmful for me as a person. I was depressed as a child. I was on antidepressants. I thought something was broken in myself. And when I finally left that religion and the shackles of the shame that had been placed on me by the patriarchy in that religion, I realized there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just this type of person. And here's the deal. People who like to have sex with a lot of people, we like to date other people who like to have sex with a lot of people. And people who don't like to have sex with a lot of people should date people who don't have sex with a lot of people. And it doesn't say anything about who they are as a person or their value as a human being or how good they are or how bad they are. It means nothing. It means nothing. It's just a bodily function that most people end up doing. And that's how I feel about sex, sexuality. And if you want to get your freak on, get it on. And if you don't, keep it locked up in a chastity cage. I literally don't care. But it doesn't mean anything about you morally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think a lot of people are using their personal experiences to define their reality. So you say, like, you grew up religious, they told you don't do this, so obviously you're going to do the exact opposite.
That's not why I am who I am.
But I'm just saying.
I just like getting freaky.
Sure, there could be a middle ground there, though. Like, I think having multiple sex partners, like, loosely having sex with different men, not only is it dangerous because you can catch STDs, this is why you guys are having abortions, this is why, you're not desired. It's a lot of things that is happening.
I mean, I would say the amount of sex partners I have would indicate I am desired. I mean, that seems like the opposite.
But you also just said men
But men value women that they marry, not women that they have sex with. So women that they have sex with is usually just a throwaway.
But again, men who like to have sex like to be with women who like to have sex. So they actually just partner together. Like, that's the reality.
I would disagree.
They just partner together.
I just personally feel like you guys probably don't ever listen to men. Men like women with a low body count. You could just listen to them and they'll tell you this out of their mouth. You don't have to go looking for this.
But again, this is the conversation. The men I like to date are like me, and they like to have lots of partners because we are good in bed and we're experienced.
But you guys are always
and those men want to have a woman who they own their virginity.
You're
Great,
always
you can have
speaking
them.
for the exception and not the rule, though. Why do you guys in all of your arguments today, you represented the exception and not the rule?
I'm asking why do men prefer women with lower body counts? Is it just innate,
because
or is
these
there
are
a
the
reason?
women that have to bear their children.
Ignorance is bliss, and they don't want to be
These are the women
compared.
that have to bear their children.
Oh, you guys seem to have a problem a little bit with men, like just comments that you're making, but yet you.
I have no problem with men. I'm straight.
Well,
I
you-
love men.
I just
good
heard.
ones.
I just heard like multiple just negative comments about men. Like
You
they like
do
to put
realize
their.
that men are responsible for 90% of the violent crime.
But you're
You talk-
sleeping with many of them.
Yeah,
so
but
do you
we
like?
still, we still love men.
90% of the violent crime, that still does not represent all men. That still would be
Exactly.
the
That's my point,
minority
though, is
of
that
men.
it doesn't represent
So men
all
are
men. None of us
awesome. Men
are
are great. They
against-
protect you just like they
We're not
assault
anti-men.
women. They protect women. They fight wars so you don't have to.
From other men. They protect you from generally another man. So enough with that.
Okay, that is protecting whom?
But I'm saying
Everybody's
I'm not against men.
Okay, but
You
they're
literally
doing
just
it
put
to
words in my
protect
mouth
their.
saying, "Oh, I'm anti-man." I'm not.
I didn't
I'm
say you were
straight.
anti-man.
I f- men. A lot of them.
I didn't say you
No,
were
I'm serious.
anti-man.
I'm
pretty
so
sure
tired
that
of
we
feminists
all
being labeled
love
as
men.
anti-man. We're not. In fact, I think feminists help men because we're trying to relieve a little bit of pressure off of them. Like,
But they're
I'm
not asking for
anti-man.
that. They would rather you just respect them. They would just rather respect. They don't care about none
Just
of the
because
things
we don't
you have
worship
to
men
offer.
doesn't mean that we don't like them. I don't put them on a pedestal. I don't treat them like they're princes.
they should
I'm not
be
like,
on a
oh, what
pedestal.
great,
They
amazing dudes.
are
I
awesome.
like men just fine. I'm unfortunately straight too.
Question on this side, for especially for those of you who love men, right?
Right.
What can you tell me some things you love about men?
Yeah, some of them have great sense of humor. Some of them are super helpful and funny. And I mean, I like men the same reasons I like women. These are all just human traits. You're funny, you're smart, you're good looking, you take care of me. I have girlfriends like that. I'm not, I
But
mean
we're not
girlfriends
talking
as
about
friends
yeah,
or girls.
we're talking because you said that a lot of people think feminists hate men. I want to know, without talking about women, only talking about men, what do you like about men? About their uniqueness of being. I'm asking the men lovers.
See, I guess I'm trying to think about what makes men unique, though, because when I like a man, they're funny, they're smart, they're good looking. But I could describe a woman with these terms.
Okay, so you don't think that there are things about men that are unique necessarily?
Well, I mean, I'm born straight, so I can't say like I choose to be attracted to men. Like this is how I was born. You know what I mean? So like I can't tell you what that's about, but I can say that I like men because they're funny, they're smart, some of them, they can protect me if I need to sometimes. Like, I understand why you like men, but I think you can all understand that they have traits that are not good, right? Like, you have men you don't like, right? You know that not all men are great.
Of course. And I want to know what you like about men too, without
So
PG.
PG, right. So I would say a lot of my good friends are men. I think men are smart and funny, just like she was saying. I think that I'm sexually attracted to men. I think they're pretty much the exact same as women. But if I were choosing like to hang out with someone one-on-one, I'd probably pick a woman because I'd probably be safer because they probably wouldn't be trying to, I don't know, have sex with me as an ulterior motive.
So it sounds like a lot of.
But I mean, I just don't see men as like a special category that they need to be worshipped in some separate way. Like, oh, men are really the reason why I'm here. I think the reason why I'm here is women. I tend to worship women more than Men.
But don't you know that men allow you to have your rights? Because if it really came down to it, they can just overpower you and take all of your rights.
Actually, I have rights because of women. I have rights because women
You have
who
rights
came before
because
me.
of men.
No, I have rights because of women.
No.
I'm here because of women.
Okay, and if they declare war on you because of your rights, what happens? You all die.
Okay, you're having a hypothetical conversation about
I'm
something
having
that hasn't happened.
very real
I'm having a real
conversation.
conversation about
This
the
is a
fact that
very
the
real
reason why
thing.
I'm able to vote is not because of men, but because of hard-working women.
And who allowed it?
A
Who
few-
voted on
a
it?
few good
Who
men.
allowed these
Yeah,
things
to
to
be
happen?
good men. Few good
Right.
men.
Not a few.
Because
A lot of good men.
Yeah,
A lot of good men.
hold on,
Then
hold on,
could- Why do you think there are no woman civilizations? Because men will take them down.
If you
Yes.
create gender into class, then
You're not
men are
wrong
also
there.
pedophiles and rapists and criminals, by your logic. You realize that, right?
Yes, but guess what? That is the
Yes.
minority
No,
of them.
I would say men are not rapists. Some men who are
The
bad
minority.
do
You
bad
heard
things.
the minority. Most men
That's what, no,
are
we're
not,
not, because
criminals.
I am not treating gender like a class.
Right.
I understand that police officers and soldiers are more often men, but that doesn't mean that men who are not those things suddenly get to be like, actually, I'm doing forced doctrine too. No, you've got a small group of young men who are given fiat authority by a bunch of state men to enact rights that all of us agreed on. That's how democracy works. If you want to treat gender like a class, then you have to say men are soldiers and men are rapists. And I think this is not true. Some men are rapists and some men are soldiers.
Well, it just sounds like, I mean, like, so if a man tells you to do something, you're going to do it. Do you, I mean, are you a woman
if
who
he's
falls
my
in
husband,
line?
absolutely. Yes, I
If he's your
serve him.
husband.
I'm here to
If you said
serve.
if he's your husband. Yeah, that makes sense. But let's talk about just some random ass man.
If a random man just asked me to do something,
That's what I'm saying. Like, you
something
just a
like
minute
what?
ago
Like
said, like,
what?
oh, men, if they could come in and just do this, like, they can take our rights from us. It's like, yeah, that's why we're here.
But
We're
that's
here
just to
make
show
sure
you
doesn't
that men
happen.
are not your
But you
enemy.
make it sound
That's
like
all
I'm supposed to
saying.
fall in line.
But you guys are, everything you're saying is because of the men, because of the patriarchy.
That's not what patriarchy
Men
doesn't refer
are
to men.
not
It
your
refers to a system.
enemy.
Yeah, no,
They're not-
patriarchy is a system.
I know, but
Okay.
I said because of the patriarchy. Men are not your enemy, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think
I'm
they are.
saying that if men didn't want you to have rights, you wouldn't have them. That's what I'm telling you.
So they could be pieces of shit. Like
That just proves that
so
they're not
what?
pieces of shit because you have rights.
But how long have we
not
had
that all
rights?
men are pieces
How
of
long have
shit.
we had them? How long?
I could say the same thing about black people.
About
I'm not over here
105
complaining
years we've
about
had
being
them.
black in America.
14 countries out of 190 countries, women actually have rights. And what those rights are, there's like a whole chart out of but only 14. Like if you go anywhere else in the world, your rights can be taken away just because of the body you have. And like we're very grateful to be in this country where we do have rights, but we've only had them for 105 years. We have to defend those rights against the bad men that are openly talking about repealing the 19th and like women should stay in the kitchen. It's not all men.
It's not all men.
I have great men in my life. I love them. I just hung out with one of them last night, and it's like they're so caring. I do love men. I just don't love all men. I hate abusive men. And good men know that when we're talking about them.
Can I ask one question? What would it take for you guys to no longer be feminism, to say, feminists, to say, hey, we have all equal rights now, we have everything we need. When does the movement stop? Because it seems like it never stops.
It's not going to stop because they now have already overturned Roe v. Wade. We've seen a right that we fought for and won taken back. So now we have to come back to the fight.
They overturned it to give it to the states, which means the people within those states can vote
Wait, sorry,
on how
two
they
of
want
you
to
are
do
talking at
things.
the
Well, then
same
it's not a
time.
right. If it can be stopped at an invisible line, then it's not a right anymore.
It was
And that's
never
why we're
supposed
here
to be
fighting
there
for
in
those
the
rights.
first place. It's not in the Constitution. It was never supposed to be there in the first place.
Neither was the women's right to vote or anything else. Like
I personally, very controversial, I don't think women should vote. Because we get women like this that say
Do you
all
vote?
of these crazy things.
You don't vote then, right?
No, I do vote.
Why? Lead by example. This is what I'm saying. You're all here using
Lead
your
by
voice to tell me
example.
that you don't want one.
I have to combat women like you, so I have to vote.
No, you're
I have to
using
vote,
your
'cause you
voice
guys
to
are
tell me you
always
don't
on
want
the
a
wrong
voice,
side
so
of
go
issues.
home.
That's why men are more logical, because you guys are always on the wrong side of issues. That's what it is. You don't even know why you're doing the things that you're doing. You just do things, and then you blame men.
Let me tell this, like, I'm going to say this right now, and I hope this gets on camera, and let me say this. Being on the side of a woman's right to vote is never the wrong side of an issue. Every person here is a human being. Voting is a human right. I won't sit here and have a conversation about repealing human rights and pretend that that's a normal conversation to be having. Women deserve the right to vote because we are human beings. We deserve to be treated like humans, and we are not more emotional than men. When a man throws a remote at a television and breaks it after a football game, then have a conversation with me about who's more emotional.
The other thing, though, about the voting thing, though, for me, is that this country was founded because of taxation without representation. And so if women don't vote, then I'm not going to pay, then we shouldn't pay taxes, right? Because that's taxation without representation.
Yeah, you don't have to work either. That's the point. Your man would pay the taxes. That is exactly the point. You won't work. What world?
Okay.
I don't know.
I actually wanted to answer your question. You asked about body count, coming back to body count, which was the last prompt. And you said, why do men want a woman with a low body count? And the answer is because we're not equal. And again, this is going to always be the fallacy and the flaw with feminism, because you're going to be fighting for an equality that does not exist. I'm not saying better or worse. I'm saying we are different. Now, it depends on what you want intimacy for. If you want to be out there doing it with everybody, you absolutely have your right to do that. Please be loud and proud. We want to see you coming. The men love women like that to have fun with. However, when you talk about love, when you talk about marriage, when you talk about a committed relationship, most of us, when you get to your old age, usually you have one, if you're lucky, like me, two great loves. You don't think about the string of casual sex that has been promoted and think of that like, man, I really got it all in. Most of us don't. You're free to do that if you want to, but I'm just saying, as we age, what's going to really matter is the relationships, the marriages, the families, the relationships that meant something, the intimacy that meant something. You can do as much as you want to with whoever you want to, but I do agree the way casual sex is promoted now, it is hurting us. It may be fun in the moment, but it's going to hurt us, and we're all going to pay the price for it.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing. This was a really interesting discussion. I thank you for your voices and your honesty. I hope that everyone watching online is able to glean something from this conversation, and let us know in the comments what you think, what your opinions are on what we discussed today. And until next time, bye-bye.
Oh my gosh.
You ladies,
Was that like 2 in 1?